Well, look, I think that these are obviously multi-party talks and include Hamas, which uh, does not, and has not thus far appeared at the negotiating table in this latest round, as well as the United States, Qatar, and other governments and intermediaries. So there are many moving parts here. It seems that Israeli demands have not changed significantly over time, and what Netanyahu is said to have submitted is actually considered to have been. We don't know the details publicly, but we think that is actually softened some demands. So perhaps this will help move the process along. But if Hamas is not willing to actually, be present in these negotiations, and it is uncertain what terms they can offer at this time, and whether they are reliable partners in this ceasefire agreement, it's hard to see whether these talks will be any different from any of the previous rounds that have lasted now for almost 10 months, and we've seen really very little progress since day one.
The absence of a political will on the part of the Israelis, particularly here, of course, the Netanyahu government, to make the necessary compromises. I don't have to tell you that about half of Israel is extremely critical to the point where you have former prime ministers essentially calling for paralyzing the country and getting rid of the government because it has not cooperated. You have the families of the hostages who have more at stake than anybody else, who are accusing Mr. Netanyahu personally and his government for being an impediment to this. First of all, in terms of participation, Hamas has agreed to participate. I mean, they do not coordinate with me, but I know that Hamas has accepted to participate in this process. It is Israel and the US that prefer not to deal directly with Hamas. So at the request of the United States on behalf of Israel, essentially Hamas stayed out of the room. It has been engaged in this process for more than 10 months. However, outside the room. Number two, the person in charge of that portfolio in Hamas, the previous head of the Politburo, Ismail Haniyeh, was in charge of the negotiations. He was the main contact with the negotiating or the mediating parties and conveying their reactions to the Israelis and to the Americans. He was assassinated by the Israelis. I don't know what for. I mean, if you kill your negotiator, who the hell are you going to be negotiating with?